Okay, so the next topic of discussion here is what's the point of it all in the first place? Because we've got to figure that out to understand why we're doing this here in the United States of America and across the globe now. It's why are we here and what's the point of it? Now, there's a few schools of thought here. The primary ones are there's a God, he loves us and he wants us to be happy, but there's some ground rules we've got to follow. Then there's the other one where there is no God. It's all chance, and it's all arbitrary and subjective, and so we can make up our own rules. And then there's a third one, which is there is no God. It is by accident, but there is still order to the world, and so we should probably figure out what that is and how we fit into it. So I'm in the first camp. There's many in this country that are the second camp. They're atheists, and that's why they think they can just make up their own rules. And then there's a third that I would like to appeal to a little bit and to consider that there is order in the world and it points more to God, but that really is not my concern of whether you believe that or not. If you observe the natural world, you recognize the fact that all animals of the animal kingdom observe specific laws pertaining to their species. Lions do what lions do. Chimpanzees do what chimpanzees do. Hummingbirds do what hummingbirds do. Birds do what birds do. Well, human beings have that set of laws too. And it took many thousands of years for us to figure out what those laws are. And there are basically 5 of them. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not murder. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not adulterate anything that's beneficial to mankind. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's stuff. Thou shalt not be a false witness. Those are the 5. The importance of those 5 is that they build trust. If everybody follows those, it builds trust between people so they can make bigger and better contracts. I mean, we wouldn't have the world we have today if we didn't trust each other. That's as simple as that. Now, some people look at the Bible and say, well, it's a whole bunch of goofy, stoofy stuff. But there's basic lessons in there, It's not all rainbows and unicorns in that book. There's a lot of tough lessons learned, and we should take it seriously. If the people who don't believe in God, I'd recommend considering the Bible as 10,000 generations of your ancestors telling you, no, you got to do it this way to be prosperous and happy in your lives. Just follow these simple rules, and that's all there is to it. And that's the problem with human beings, is that we have a choice. Other animals, they just do what animals do, and there's no choice in the matter. But for us, we have that choice to obey those simple laws and be prosperous and happy and peaceful lives, or we can be miserable and make everybody around us miserable. More wood clearing to do here. I'm going to go under here, see what these people know here. Big old grapevines choking everything out. Basically in a swampy area here. The only time we can really get back here is in the wintertime when it's frozen up. So that's the choice we have. And that's basically what the founders came up with. And it's not that they came up with it, it's they applied it to government. They said we as a free people have a right to govern ourselves. As long as we can protect those rights, which come from natural law, then we can govern ourselves. Now here's the thing, these rights, the whole issue about rights is, I have my rights, I have my rights, I get it, you got your rights. But the rights are not your personal property. They're property of the entire human race. They're the property of humanity, of human beings, you know? And so we don't have the authority as individuals to surrender these rights. Because when we surrender these rights, we're not only surrendering our rights, we're surrendering the rights of those people that come after us. And that's a crime. That's a crime. You're participating in a crime if you allow the government to take your rights away from you. This is existential. That means our existence depends on these rights being protected. Lots of stuff to clear around here. A lot of dead branches. Getting too old for this, right? Oh boy. Come on, get the leg over. I'm not gonna make it. Oh, there goes that branch. One branch I wanted to break didn't break. Well, you know the rest of the story. So that's the thing, and we can't allow cowardice or comfort or just going along to get along to stand in the way of us doing what's right, because we're only here for a short while. You know, 80 laps of the old sun, and we're gone. Some of us sooner, some of us a little bit later. Results are the same. So the only thing we have, when we talk about things we want to leave to our children, material things, they come and they go. You can't take them with you. So you need to think about that. The only thing we have that we can pass on to our children that has any value whatsoever is the protection of those rights, protection of those liberties. And we have to do it, people. We have to do it. We have to figure out the form of government we live under that allows that to happen. Everybody getting that? So that's why we call the government we're trying to form here, or we did form back in 1789. It came into existence in 1790. Oh, we got trees and everything falling on us. Watch that sun. Let me go around the other way. 1790 came into existence. We formed a republic, which means under the law. Okay, it's not just some arbitrary law we make up in the legislature. It's under God's law. It's under the biblical law. It's under the Ten Commandments. That's why there's such a huff and a puff from some people who don't believe in God about us putting the old Ten Commandments out on the courtroom steps. Those are the basis for all of our laws. Those are the basis for all of our laws. They're not some religious artifact. They're actual legal binding laws that we must base all the rest of our laws on, or we're violating natural law. So where does that leave us? It leaves us back in mayhem. We're a bunch of savages living in Somalia or someplace. This is a little bit better. This is a little swampy area here. Tiny little ponds, not more than probably 12 inches, 18 inches deep. Right now, the water level is real low. So probably not even 12 feet, 12 inches that is. So you understand the importance of what we're doing here, trying to maintain a republic. It's not an easy thing, you know. Lots of things get in the way of a republic. One of the 10 Commandments is thou shalt not worship any God before me, okay? That's the law. The second you put money ahead of the law, the second you put a political party before the law, the whole republic falls apart because you're no longer following the law, you're following your own special interests. That's a non-win situation for everybody, you know. I don't know which way. I never get my good side. I have to bend over for that. Just got to try to keep the sun from blinding you folks. So that's what it comes down to. Okay, you've got the law that we have to obey in order to be a republic. And we can't allow special interests or these democratic notions of majority rule to creep in and destroy it. Okay? One of the rules, one of the laws of the republic is thou shalt not steal. You know, landowners, property owners, they own property. You know, it's not fair for some other people who don't own property to steal the wealth from these people in order to benefit from their wealth. Now, everybody needs to work for a living, and we can get into that too, because the government we've got right now is actively engaged in destroying the wealth and the prosperity of our country. They're taxing, well, actually, the Federal Reserve banking cartel is using the tax system, which is unconstitutional, unlawful. And then the government's writing all these crazy regulations to prevent us from being prosperous and happy and peaceful. And they're forcing us to do crazy things overseas that just makes things worse for us. None of this stuff that they're doing is for our benefit. As far as they're concerned, we're just cattle. It needs to be trotted along and do whatever they want and then disposed of at their will. So we gotta change that. We gotta change the way people think. So anyway, I'm asking you folks to think about this stuff, and please visit me on my Substack station, and which is David Chandler 712.substack.com to see all my other videos I've got on government, and hopefully you guys get more involved, and we can start setting things up in our local communities to start pushing back against what's certainly coming towards us. So anyway, God bless all of you, and have a good rest of your afternoon here. Bye.